The massive screens in Times Square flickered with excitement as humanity watched the Galactic Council's ships descend through Earth's atmosphere. Golden vessels that looked like falling stars painted the sky, their hulls gleaming in the summer sun. People held their breath, phones raised high to capture humanity's first official contact with the galactic community. Among the crowd stood Captain James Miller, his military uniform crisp despite the humid New York air. His eyes narrowed as he studied the approaching ships. 20 years in the Space Force had taught him to look past the shine and search for substance. These aliens were putting on quite a show, but something felt off about the whole thing. The lead ship landed in the specially prepared area of Central Park, its golden surface dimming to a subtle glow. The crowd's cheers echoed across Manhattan as tall, elegant figures emerged from the vessel. The alien diplomats walked with perfect posture, their long robes flowing despite the lack of wind. "Quite the entrance," muttered Susan Thompson, who stood next to Miller. As Earth's leading spacecraft engineer, she had been chosen to evaluate whatever technology the Council might share with humanity. Her dark eyes sparkled with curiosity, but her mouth was set in a suspicious line. The alien delegation approached the waiting human leaders. Their spokesperson, a tall figure with silvery skin, spread 4 arms in what appeared to be a greeting gesture. "People of Earth," the alien's voice carried clearly through their translation device, "we welcome you to the galactic community." The ceremony proceeded exactly as planned. Speeches were made, promises of cooperation and friendship were exchanged, and then came the moment everyone had been waiting for, the presentation of Earth's acceptance gift. As is tradition, the alien spokesperson announced, "We present you with a vessel of our making to help humanity take its first steps among the stars." The air shimmered, and suddenly it appeared, floating above Central Park like a ghost ship from an old tale. But as the shimmer faded, confused murmurs spread through the crowd. The ship looked old. Its hull was a patchwork of dull metal plates, some showing clear signs of wear. It was massive, yes, but it had none of the elegance of the Council's golden vessels. Miller watched as Thompson's fingers flew across her tablet, her frown deepening with each reading. "Captain," she whispered, "these energy readings are barely above minimum spaceflight requirements. This thing is running on technology that's, well, by their standards, it must be ancient." The alien spokesperson continued, their tone carrying what sounded suspiciously like amusement. "This Horizon-class exploration vessel has served many species well. We're sure humans will find it adequate for their current level of development." Miller caught the slight twitch at the corner of the spokesperson's mouth, a gesture that seemed universal among species, badly hidden contempt. He glanced at Thompson, who gave him a slight nod. She had caught it too. The ceremony concluded quickly after that. As the alien ships departed, their golden hulls once again turning into stars, humanity was left with their gift, now dubbed the Scraffy by the media. It hung in low Earth orbit like a sad reminder of humanity's place in the galactic hierarchy. 3 days later, Miller found himself floating through the vessel's main corridor with Thompson. The ship's artificial gravity was working, but only at 60% capacity. Their footsteps echoed in the empty halls, the sound bouncing off walls that had clearly seen better days. "They really went all out to insult us, didn't they?" Miller said, running his hand along a wall panel that looked like it might fall off at any moment. "This ship is barely holding together." Thompson didn't respond immediately. She was focused on a section of exposed circuitry, her tablet displaying readings that meant nothing to Miller, but he knew that look in her eyes. The same look she got when faced with a particularly interesting puzzle. "Maybe," she finally said, "but they made a mistake. A big one." She turned to Miller, her face lit with excitement. "They assumed we'd see this ship the same way they do, as outdated, useless technology. But they don't understand how humans think." She pulled up a holographic display of the ship's power core. Look at this. The core design, it's not specialized like modern alien ships. It's basic, adaptable. They'd probably see that as a weakness, but for us, she grinned. It's an opportunity. This ship is like a blank canvas, Captain, and humans have always been good at turning trash into treasure. Miller studied the display, beginning to understand her excitement. How long would it take to get it fully operational? Operational. Thompson laughed. Captain, I don't want to make it operational. I want to make it extraordinary. Give me 6 months, and Earth's best engineers. We'll show the Council exactly what humans can do with their adequate gift. As they continued their inspection, Miller noticed more and more signs that Thompson was right. The ship's flaws were actually opportunities in disguise. Its simple systems could be modified, improved, rebuilt. What looked like decorative patterns on the hull could house additional systems. The outdated power core could be adapted to human technology. They found the bridge last, a spacious room with views of Earth through massive windows. Most of the consoles were dark, their systems running on minimum power. But even here, Miller could see the potential. With human innovation, this room could become something the Council never imagined. You know what they're trying to do, right? Miller said, settling into the captain's chair. It creaked ominously under his weight. They're trying to keep us contained. Give us something that looks impressive, but will hold us back technologically. Thompson nodded, already making notes on her tablet. They think they've given us a ship that will take generations to improve upon. They want us dependent on their technology, their approval. She looked up, her eyes gleaming with determination. They have no idea what they've actually given us. Miller smiled, looking out at the Earth below. The aliens had made a crucial mistake. They had given humans exactly what humans do best with. A challenge, an opportunity, and something to prove wrong. Get your team together, he said. I want detailed assessments of every system, every circuit, every bolt. If there's potential for improvement, I want to know about it. He stood up, his mind already racing with possibilities. They handed us what they thought was a useless vessel. Let's show them what humanity can really do. As they left the bridge, Thompson paused at a half-functioning console. With a few quick taps, she brought up the ship's original specifications. You know what the funny thing is, Captain? This ship's base design, it's actually brilliant. Simple, yes, but brilliant. It's almost as if what? As if whoever designed it originally built it to be modified, like they were waiting for someone to come along who would see it differently. She shook her head. Or maybe I'm just seeing what I want to see. Miller looked back at the bridge, at all its dormant potential. Either way, I think we're about to make some waves in the galactic community. The Council wants to see what humans can do with their gift. He smiled. Let's give them a show they'll never forget. The makeshift command center buzzed with activity as engineers from every corner of Earth gathered to examine the alien vessel. Screens displayed technical readouts, while 3D holograms of ship systems floated in the air. Susan Thompson stood at the center of it all, directing the organized chaos like a conductor leading an orchestra. The power core is our priority, she announced, pointing to a holographic display of the ship's heart. It's running at 15% capacity, but that's not because it's broken. It's because we haven't figured out how to wake it up properly. Robert Wilson, a former military engineer with decades of experience in weapons systems, stepped forward. His weathered face creased in thought as he studied the core's design. Look at these connection points, he said, tracing lines in the air. They're universal adapters. This thing wasn't built to use just one type of power source. It was built to use anything. Thompson's eyes lit up. She quickly pulled up the ship's original specifications. You're right. The aliens probably saw this as primitive, but it's brilliant. We can hook up our fusion reactors, solar arrays, even the experimental quantum power cells. This ship could run on multiple power sources simultaneously. The team worked through the night, fueled by coffee and excitement. They discovered that almost every system on the ship followed the same principle: simple, basic designs that could be modified and improved. It wasn't a limitation, it was an opportunity. A week later, Miller visited the ship to check on their progress. The corridors that had once echoed with emptiness now hummed with life. Engineers crawled through access panels, replaced old systems, and installed new ones. The air crackled with possibility. "Captain," Thompson called out, emerging from a tangle of wires. Her face was smudged with grease, but her smile was bright. "You need to see this." She led him to what had once been a bare section of hull. Now it bristled with new sensors and equipment. "Remember those decorative patterns on the outer hull? They're not decorative at all. They're prefabricated mounting points. The aliens probably forgot their original purpose, but we figured it out. We can attach almost anything to them." Wilson joined them, carrying what looked like a modified weapon system. "And that's not all," he added. "These mounting points form a grid across the entire ship. If we do this right, we could create the most advanced shield system humanity has ever designed." Miller watched as they demonstrated their discoveries. Every flaw in the ship's design had become an advantage. The outdated computer systems were being replaced with Earth's latest quantum computers. The weak engines were being modified to accept multiple types of propulsion. Even the life support systems were being upgraded to exceed anything currently in use. "How long until we can test it?" Miller asked, trying to hide his excitement. Thompson checked her tablet. 2 more weeks for the basic systems. But here's the interesting part. We're building everything to be modular. If something breaks or we develop better technology, we can swap it out in hours instead of months. This ship will never be outdated because it can always be upgraded. The next 2 weeks passed in a blur of activity. The ship's transformation was remarkable. Its hull, once dull and patched, now gleamed with purpose. New systems peeked through the surface like jewels, each serving a vital function. The bridge, once dark and lifeless, now pulsed with energy. On the day of the first test flight, Miller stood on the bridge with Thompson and Wilson. The ship hummed around them, its new power core running at full capacity. Multiple energy sources worked in perfect harmony, providing more power than the original designers had ever imagined possible. "All systems are ready," Thompson reported, her fingers dancing across the new control panels. "Power output is stable at 300% of original specifications. Shield grid is online. Weapons systems are, well, let's just say we've got some surprises if we need them." Miller settled into the captain's chair, now properly reinforced and equipped with its own command interfaces. "Take us out, nice and easy. Let's see what she can do." The ship lifted smoothly from its dock, its new engines purring like a well-tuned machine. As they cleared Earth's atmosphere, Thompson began running through their test protocols. Each new system performed perfectly, exceeding even their optimistic expectations. "Preparing for full power test," Thompson announced. "All departments report ready." Miller nodded. "Do it." The ship surged forward, its hybrid power systems working together in ways the Galactic Council had never imagined. On the screens, test data scrolled past at incredible speeds. Every system was performing at levels that would have seemed impossible just weeks ago. "Look at these readings," Wilson said, grinning. "The shield grid isn't just defensive. It's actually improving our engine efficiency. The whole ship is working together like a single organism." As they put the ship through its paces, Miller couldn't help but smile. The aliens had given them what they thought was an obsolete vessel, but they had fundamentally misunderstood humanity. Where they saw limitations, humans saw possibilities. Where they saw outdated technology, humans saw a foundation to build upon. "We need a new name," Miller said as they completed their final test run. "We can't keep calling it the scrap heap anymore. Thompson looked up from her station. I've been thinking about that. What about Phoenix? In Earth mythology, it's a bird that rises from its own ashes, transformed into something more powerful than before. Wilson nodded approvingly. Perfect. Because that's exactly what we've done here. We've taken their cast-off gift and turned it into something they never imagined possible. As they began their return flight to Earth, Miller gazed out at the stars. The Galactic Council had tried to contain humanity's growth, to keep them dependent and subordinate. Instead, they had given humans exactly what they needed: a challenge to overcome, a puzzle to solve, and a chance to prove themselves. You know, Thompson said quietly, I don't think they'll be smirking the next time they see this ship. Miller smiled. No, they won't. But that's not why we did this. We did it because this is what humans do. We take what we're given, and we make it better. We adapt, we improve, we overcome. The Phoenix streaked back toward Earth, its systems humming with power and possibility. It was no longer a cast-off gift or an insult to humanity. It was proof of what humans could achieve when given the chance. And this was just the beginning. 6 months passed like a whirlwind of innovation and discovery. The Phoenix had become Earth's greatest technical achievement, though few beyond the project team knew its true capabilities. From space, it still looked like the same old vessel the Galactic Council had given them, but beneath its skin, it was something entirely new. Thompson stood in the ship's new control center, watching as her team installed the final pieces of their most ambitious upgrade yet. The room gleamed with holographic displays and smart surfaces that responded to touch and thought. Gone were the creaking panels and flickering screens. Everything now moved with smooth precision. Final power core integration is complete, announced one of her engineers. All 5 power sources are running in perfect sync. We're seeing output levels that are... He paused, double-checking his readings, 700% above original specifications. Wilson walked in, carrying his latest creation, a handheld device that looked too small to be dangerous. Wait until you see what this beauty can do, he said, grinning. Remember those decorative hull patterns we found? Well, I've figured out how to turn them into weapon ports. One button, and this ship can defend itself from any angle. The Phoenix had indeed become something extraordinary. Its hull now contained thousands of micro-launchers, each capable of deploying everything from defensive shields to offensive weapons. The original designers had left the mounting points, but humans had taken the concept far beyond anything they had imagined. Miller entered the control center, looking impressed with the latest changes. How's our AI system coming along? He asked, settling into his command chair, now a marvel of engineering itself, capable of keeping him safe even if the ship took heavy damage. Thompson pulled up a holographic display. A gentle blue light pulsed in time with her words. Meet HFY, Adaptive Response Intelligence Assistant. She's not just a computer. She's a true AI that can learn and adapt. She's already learned to manage all ship systems more efficiently than we ever could manually. Hello, Captain Miller. HFY's voice was calm and clear. All systems are operating at peak efficiency. The new quantum computing cores have expanded my processing capability by 300% since last week. Miller nodded approvingly. The decision to integrate Earth's experimental AI technology had been controversial, but the results were undeniable. HFY had taken their improvements and found ways to make them work even better together. Show me the shield system, he requested. The holographic display shifted, showing layers of protective fields surrounding the ship. What had started as a simple defense grid had evolved into something revolutionary. The shields now adapted to any threat, using the enemy's own energy to grow stronger. The latest tests are remarkable, Thompson said, highlighting specific data points. When we hit the shields with energy weapons, they don't just block the attack. They absorb the energy and feed it back into our power system. The harder someone hits us, the stronger we become. Wilson stepped forward, adding his own data to the display. And that's not all. Those simple hole patterns, we've modified them to create a metamaterial surface. We can adjust the ship's radar signature at will. We can look like a small shuttle, a massive warship, or nothing at all. Outside the ship, a maintenance team was installing the final pieces of the new sensor array. The Phoenix could now see further and more clearly than any human vessel before it. But unlike the specialized systems used by the Galactic Council, these sensors could be easily upgraded or replaced as better technology became available. "Time for a full systems test," Thompson announced. The engineering team took their positions, each monitoring different aspects of the ship's performance. Miller watched as screens filled with data, showing the incredible transformation they had achieved. Aria's voice provided updates as each system came online. Primary power grid at full capacity. Secondary and tertiary systems synchronized. Quantum cores operating at optimal levels. Shield grid energized. Adaptive defense systems ready. All weapons in standby mode. Environmental systems at 100%. The ship hummed with power, but it wasn't the unstable vibration they had felt 6 months ago. Now it was a smooth, confident pulse. Like a heartbeat, every system worked in perfect harmony, each improvement building on the others to create something greater than the sum of its parts. "Take us out," Miller ordered. "Let's see what she can really do." The Phoenix lifted smoothly from its dock, its new engines barely making a sound. As they reached orbit, Thompson began running through their test protocol. But this was no simple shakedown cruise. They were going to push the ship to its absolute limits. "Engaging maximum thrust," Thompson announced. The ship surged forward, accelerating faster than anything in Earth's fleet. The stars blurred around them, but inside the ship, no one felt more than a gentle push back in their seats. Wilson monitored the tactical systems as they ran combat drills. Holographic targets appeared and vanished as the ship's weapons tracked and eliminated them with perfect precision. The shield grid sparkled as it deflected simulated attacks, each impact making it stronger. "Energy levels are actually increasing," Thompson reported with satisfaction. "The more we use the systems, the more efficiently they work together. Aria is optimizing everything in real time." They pushed the ship harder, testing every system and capability they had added. The Phoenix responded perfectly, its hybrid systems working together in ways that would have seemed impossible 6 months ago. It was no longer just a ship. It was humanity's greatest achievement. As they completed their final test run, Miller stood at the center of the control room, looking at his crew with pride. "The Council thought they were giving us an obsolete relic," he said. "Instead, they gave us the foundation for something they never imagined possible." Thompson nodded, still monitoring the test data. "Every primitive feature they mocked us for has become an advantage. Their specialized systems can't adapt or improve without completely rebuilding them. Ours." She gestured at the screens showing the ship's capabilities. "We can upgrade any part of this ship in hours. We'll never fall behind because we can always move forward." The Phoenix cruised back to Earth, its systems running perfectly. From the outside, it still looked much like the gift they had received, perhaps a bit shinier, a bit more purposeful in its stance. But inside, it had become something new, something that represented the very best of human ingenuity and determination. "We should invite the Council for a demonstration," Wilson suggested with a slight smile. "Show them what humans can do with a useless vessel." Miller shook his head, though he was smiling too. "Not yet. Let them think we're still struggling with their gift. The time will come to show them what we've achieved. But for now." He looked out at the stars, thinking of the future. "For now, let's focus on making the Phoenix even better." The ship glided into its dock, its transformed systems powering down to standby mode. But unlike 6 months ago, it wasn't going to sleep. It was merely waiting, ready to prove that humanity could turn any challenge into an opportunity, any setback into a triumph. The real test would come soon enough, and the Phoenix would be ready. The emergency signal blared through Earth's communication channels, its alien frequency catching everyone by surprise. Miller was in the middle of a routine system check when Aria's calm voice interrupted his work. "Captain, I'm detecting a distress call from the Galactic Council colony on Delta 9. They are under attack by a significant pirate fleet. Current count shows 37 hostile vessels." Miller straightened in his chair. "How far are we from their position?" "We are the closest vessel capable of responding. At maximum speed, we can reach them in 17 minutes. Thompson and Wilson rushed onto the bridge, having received the same alert. Their faces showed a mix of concern and determination. This would be the Phoenix's first real test, and against overwhelming odds. "The Council's going to love this," Wilson said, taking his station at tactical. "The humans coming to save them in their obsolete gift." Miller opened a channel to Earth Command, quickly receiving authorization to respond. The Council colony's fate was more important than keeping their ship's improvements secret. "All hands to battle stations. Thompson, give me everything the engines have got. Wilson, power up all defensive systems, but keep them hidden. Let's show them what this ship can really do." The Phoenix leaped forward, its hybrid engines pushing it to speeds that would have torn apart a lesser vessel. Inside, the crew felt nothing thanks to their advanced inertial dampeners. The stars stretched into lines of light as they raced to answer the distress call. Through the ship's enhanced sensors, they could already see the battle. Pirate ships swarmed around the colony like angry wasps, their weapons tearing through the orbital defenses. 2 Council ships lay crippled nearby, their golden hulls scared and dark. "This is Captain James Miller of the Earth vessel Phoenix responding to your distress call," Miller announced on all frequencies. "We are here to help." The response was immediate and dismissive. "Earth vessel, withdraw immediately," a Council commander ordered. "Your outdated ship will be destroyed. This is not a battle for primitive vessels." Miller ignored the warning. AI, battle analysis. The AI's response was immediate. Pirate vessels are using mainly energy weapons and standard missiles. Their shields are basic but numerous. They rely on overwhelming force rather than tactical superiority. I have identified 19 different weapon configurations and have adjusted our shield harmonics accordingly. Wilson, deploy the shield grid but keep it powered down. Thompson, ready the power absorption systems. Let's show them what primitive looks like. The Phoenix dove into the battle, still appearing as the same old vessel the Council had given them. The pirates, seeing what looked like an easy target, turned their attention to the human ship. "Multiple weapons locked on us," Wilson reported calmly. "Impact in 3, 2, 1. Energy beams and missiles streaked toward the Phoenix from all directions. At the last possible moment, Wilson activated their defense systems. The shield grid flared to life, not just blocking the attacks but absorbing them. Each hit made their shields stronger, feeding power back into their systems. Shield strength increasing, Thompson announced with satisfaction. Power levels are now at 120% and rising. Their attacks are making us stronger. The Council commanders watched in stunned silence as the supposedly obsolete vessel shrugged off attacks that had crippled their own ships. But the Phoenix wasn't done showing off. "Time to return the favor," Miller ordered. "Wilson, show them our little surprises." The ship's decorative hull patterns suddenly came alive. Thousands of micro-launchers deployed, each targeting a different pirate vessel. The Phoenix erupted in a dazzling display of defensive and offensive power that left both pirates and Council forces speechless. Araya coordinated their attack perfectly, predicting enemy movements and adjusting their weapons in real time. Pirate ships found their shields failing as specialized energy pulses disrupted their systems. Others discovered their weapons being turned against them by the Phoenix's adaptive defense grid. "Enemy fleet is breaking formation," Wilson reported with a grin. "They've never seen anything like this. They don't know how to counter our systems." Miller watched as the pirate fleet tried to regroup. Their traditional tactics were useless against the Phoenix's constantly adapting defenses. Each attack they launched only made the human ship stronger, its hybrid systems working together in ways they couldn't understand. "Multiple ships are powering up their jump drives," Araya reported. "They are attempting to escape." "Not today," Miller said firmly. "Thompson, activate the gravity net. Wilson, target their engines. Let's make sure these pirates don't trouble anyone else." The Phoenix's most innovative system deployed, a web of focused gravity fields that trapped the pirate ships in place. Their engines strained against the invisible force, but they couldn't break free. One by one, Wilson's precisely targeted shots disabled their power systems. In less than 30 minutes, the battle was over. The pirate fleet that had overwhelmed the Council's defenses lay dead in space, defeated by a single primitive vessel. The Phoenix hung among them, its systems humming contentedly, ready for more if needed. "Status report," Miller called out. "Shields at 200% capacity thanks to all that absorbed energy," Thompson reported. "All systems functioning perfectly. ARRA has already analyzed their weapon systems and updated our defensive algorithms. We're actually stronger now than when the battle started." The Council commander's voice came over the comm system again, but this time the dismissive tone was gone. "Earth vessel. How? What did you do to that ship?" Miller smiled. "We improved it. Turns out humans are pretty good at making things better. Would you like assistance with your damaged vessels? Our engineering teams are quite experienced with repairs." The silence that followed was almost comical. Finally, the commander responded, "We would appreciate any assistance you can provide." As repair teams prepared to help the damaged Council ships, Miller looked at his crew with pride. They had done more than win a battle. They had proven that humanity's greatest strength was its ability to adapt and improve. "Send word to Earth Command," he ordered. "Tell them the Phoenix has completed its first combat trial. All systems performed beyond expectations." He paused, looking at the defeated pirate fleet. "And maybe mention that we're going to need a bigger dock. I have a feeling we're going to be making a lot more improvements after analyzing all this combat data." The Phoenix moved gracefully among the damaged ships, its sensors already cataloging new information, its systems adapting and improving. What the Council had intended as an insult had become humanity's greatest triumph. And this was just the beginning. News of the Phoenix's victory spread through the galaxy like a wildfire. The Galactic Council chambers buzzed with excited discussions as representatives from various species debated what this meant for their carefully maintained hierarchy. Humans, it seemed, had done the impossible. They had turned a technological insult into a triumph that couldn't be ignored. 3 weeks after the battle, the Phoenix approached the Council's central station. This time, there were no smirks or dismissive glances from the alien diplomats. Every sensor and scanner on the station was focused on the vessel, trying to understand how humans had achieved such a transformation. Miller stood proud on his bridge, his crew at their stations. Thompson and Wilson flanked him as they prepared to dock. The ship looked much the same as when it had first been gifted to humanity, but now it moved with undeniable purpose and power. "They've assigned us their primary docking bay," Araya announced. "Interesting. According to their protocols, that berth is reserved for their most advanced vessels." Thompson smiled at her screens. "Well, we certainly qualify for that now. Our power readings alone are probably giving their sensors fits." The Phoenix settled into the dock with perfect precision. As they prepared to meet the Council, Wilson's tactical display lit up. "Captain, you might want to see this." Every military vessel in the system just went to full alert. They're scared of us. Not scared, Miller corrected. Cautious. They'd just discovered that humans are far more capable than they assumed. Let them watch. They might learn something. The council chamber was packed when they entered. Species from across the galaxy had gathered to witness this historic moment. The same silver-skinned diplomat who had presented the gift stood at the central podium, looking far less confident than before. Humans, the diplomat began, you have surprised us. Our analysis of your battle with the pirate fleet shows capabilities we did not think possible with such basic technology. Basic. Thompson stepped forward, unable to contain herself. What you saw as basic was actually flexible, adaptable. Your specialized systems are impressive, but they can't grow or change. Ours can evolve. She activated a holographic display, showing the Phoenix's systems. Every attack makes us stronger. Every battle teaches us something new. We took your gift and made it better not because we're more advanced, but because we think differently. The chamber erupted in discussion. Representatives from various worlds began shouting questions, demanding to know how humans had achieved such results. But it was an old, quiet voice from the back of the chamber that caught everyone's attention. They did exactly what we hoped they would. The crowd parted to reveal an ancient alien, their skin wrinkled and pale. Miller recognized the species. They were nearly extinct now, but they had once been great engineers. I was part of the team that designed that vessel, the Ancient One said, moving forward slowly. We created it thousands of years ago, but not as the simple ship everyone assumed it to be. We designed it as a test. The chamber fell silent as the Ancient One continued. We built it with potential hidden capabilities that would only become apparent to a species that thought creatively, that saw possibilities where others saw limitations. We launched many such ships into the galaxy, waiting for someone to understand their true nature. Thompson's eyes widened as understanding dawned. The adaptive core, the modular systems, the hull patterns, they weren't mistakes or outdated technology. They were seeds, the Ancient One finished. Seeds waiting for the right species to help them grow. Many received our ships over the millennia. All saw them as primitive, useless. But you humans, the Ancient One's eyes gleamed. You saw what we had hidden. You understood. The council chamber buzzed with this revelation. The silver-skinned diplomat looked shocked. You mean to tell us that this was all a test? That the humans succeeded where we all failed? Not failed, Miller interjected. You just saw things differently. Humans have always had to adapt, to improve, to find new ways to solve problems. When you gave us that ship, you didn't give us limitations. You gave us opportunities. Wilson stepped forward, adding his own thoughts. Every system we added, every improvement we made, worked better than it should have. Now we know why. The ship was designed to enhance whatever was added to it, but only if those additions were made with understanding and creativity. The Ancient One nodded. And now, as was always intended, we offer humanity our people's legacy. In the ship's database, accessible only to those who proved worthy, are the technical archives of our civilization. All our knowledge, our achievements, our discoveries, they are yours now. Thompson's tablet chimed. Araya's voice announced, new data streams detected, beginning integration of archived technical data. Captain, this is incredible. The theoretical foundations alone are centuries beyond current galactic science. The council representatives whispered among themselves. Humanity hadn't just proven themselves capable. They had unlocked knowledge that had been hidden in plain sight for thousands of years. The balance of power in the galaxy had shifted in ways no one had expected. The silver-skinned diplomat cleared their throat. In light of these developments, the Council proposes an immediate revision of Earth's status. We would be honored to learn from humanity's unique perspective. Miller smiled but shook his head. What we prefer is genuine cooperation. We don't want to dominate or control. We want to share what we've learned, work together, help everyone advance. That's another human trait. We believe that everyone can improve, everyone can grow stronger. The Ancient One's eyes crinkled with pleasure. And that, more than anything else, proves you were the right choice. Our technology was never meant to create a new ruling species. It was meant to find one that would help lift all others up with them. As the council session continued, Miller looked at his crew with pride. They had done more than prove humanity's worth. They had shown that the greatest strength wasn't in having the most advanced technology, but in having the vision to see possibilities where others saw limitations. So, Wilson said quietly, "What do we do with all this new knowledge?" Thompson was already scrolling through the technical archives, her eyes bright with excitement. "We do what humans always do. We learn, we improve, and we share." And then, she looked up at the gathered representatives of the galaxy's species. "Then we help everyone else do the same." The Phoenix hummed in its dock, no longer just a transformed gift, but a symbol of humanity's unique place in the galaxy. Its systems hummed quietly, already incorporating the ancient knowledge it had helped unlock. But more importantly, it stood as proof that the greatest technology wasn't the most advanced or the most specialized. It was the kind that could grow, adapt, and improve. And that was something humans understood better than anyone.